Hey Pisces, how are you? It's MJ from Ultra Love. I am slowly getting through the monthly intuitive readings. Pisces, shall we see what comes through the cards and intuition? If you guys are new to the channel, I started offering intuitive readings back in June, and it's been a beautiful movement forward ultimately for offering more services for all y'all lovers in the world. This channel focuses primarily on paradigm shift energies, spiritual awakening, and transformation. I have a book. If that interests you, you can read it. It's a step-by-step guide ultimately to transforming your life. And I joke about a fair amount, but it's no joke. Intuition reigns supreme. So your inner guidance, your intuition is ultimately your gateway to freedom. And feeling your emotions and owning and transforming your reality and your emotional field is mega, mega crucial when it comes to traversing this life ultimately. We are living in increasingly intense times, that's for sure, and we can all help each other out basically just by showing up. Okie dokie Pisces, so it's always my intention to offer divine guidance with these readings, and if it resonates, great. If not, just leave it. So the Empress is here. I feel like there's a sense of really stepping into your power, laying down the burdens, cutting that out ultimately, cutting out the mental distortions that we might feel around lack, around false messengers, and really laying down the burden of our own field. Basically, we have the Ten of Wands here, and opening up ourselves to new opportunities as well in order to move forward. There's a Nine of Wands here as well. So there's the 9 and the 10 of Wands, and this is ultimately that defensive energy that we can now really address, that defensiveness energy around our own personal creativity, our own creative spark. And I feel with the Queen of Swords here in the reverse over top of this 10 of Wands, it really is about cutting it out, you know, cutting out any distortion around the mental area. That could be a maternal line because it is a queen, and false perceptions, ultimately false perceptions around the creative burden that you carry. Wheel of Fortune is in the reverse. That often to me is meaning that things are beginning to turn around. Things are actually really beginning to turn around. There might have been a review though, with it being in the reverse. I feel like there might have been a bit of a review of having to look at new opportunities coming in. With the Empress here over top the Chariot, to me this is really about now moving forward in your power. You know, basically like casting aside defensive energy, casting aside this feeling of burden, moving beyond. There's a couple fours here, so I feel like you're desiring now to really lay down foundations and moving beyond feeling of lack, feeling of tightness, feeling of things not working out for you, and preparing to really open up and take these new offers, new beginnings. The Four of Cups there. There's a desire. Now I'm pulling some Osho cards for some sort of spiritual or divine guidance. There really is now, as you cut out that burden energy and lay to rest the energy of having to defend ourselves. And again, these are past patterns, possibly connected to the maternal line, a false belief system basically, or you could also use the expression limited belief system around the you know, the trials of life and how intense and how deep life is. And this Page of Swords here is again like niggly, or this is intuition, right? But niggly burdensome thought forms that ultimately are not serving you. And so you're having to let that wheel of fortune really turn around. For some of you, there is very much a maturation, a divination happening here. So you're rising yourself into a greater maturity when it comes to your ability to play with life, to trust in life. And then that's really the Empress. So as you really begin to sit in your power, these two are the energies to me really coming in, and the other energies of where you've been and energies that you're possibly currently still laying to rest and cutting out. And then the defensive energy here, I'm feeling as though that has to do a little bit with some advice or potential limitations, that if we begin to move forward and really believe in ourselves and believe in our power, and we begin to move forward and things come in that trigger this feeling of defensiveness, we don't have to feed that energy. You can continue to move forward in your maturity, in your playfulness, basically in your trust. So for some of you, there's this energy of, it's a laziness card. You guys, I don't know if you've been following here, but I can interpret these cards, again, very differently depending on intuitive guidance. And the laziness card here is a funny one because it has to do with ego. So it's like there's an aspect of our ego that is attached to carrying these burdens. And so hence the resistance. The Nine of Wands there is more kind of affirmation around this energy of sometimes we can hold on to these suffering patterns or limited beliefs because it makes us feel self-important. It's mainly this, like, the energy that he's exhibiting in this card. And as I intuitively lay it down over the Ten of Wands with the Queen of Swords there, so recognize that there's possibly a feeling of subtle egoic, like, you know, this is as in, like, we hold on to our burdens, we hold on to our false or limited beliefs around lack or around who we might think we are. Maybe it once served us, or maybe it once brought stuff in for us, and so we sort of carry this and we almost defend it, right? We can defend our own limited structures, our own limited creative ideas, or rather, you know, the limitation around that, like, I couldn't do that, or I can't do that, I haven't got enough of this, I haven't, you know, it never worked out for me in the past, or you know, people just fucked me over in the past. And so we sort of sit, it's like this is a false throne where the Empress over here is like the benevolent divine throne of power, and ultimately being the creator. So you manifesting the kind of seat that you want, you manifesting the environment you want, you manifesting the body that you want connected to the cosmic gate. So it's like that energy really wants to move forward here, especially coming out with the Wheel of Fortune. If there's any stagnation, it's possibly to do with these limited beliefs around the burdens that you carry. It's a feeling here with the Queen of Swords. So really pay attention to any of those thoughts that we might be thinking around our life path, basically. Yeah. And then there's like stress around that. So basically it's like stresses, you know, like I have all these things I need to do, or I have so much responsibility here, it's all on me, you know, I have to tend to these people and these people and these people. And this train of thought, this limited feeling is ultimately almost like a egoic attachment to that drama of life, that incessant going round and round in circles here with the stress card. And there is an opportunity that wants to come in. There's a Four of Cups here, but again, if we're stuck in that, you know, this is who I am energy, and i.e. the burden, and like things don't go my way, or people always bring in shitty messages, and there's some kind of niggly negative belief system, because it is a sword energy and it's attached to our ability to truly create what we want, because it's the wand energy as well, this kind of creative field energy, and it is connected to a past patterning of a limitation around the belief system. And again, here it's about looking more closely at the fact that sometimes we can attach ourselves to that as a part of our person, part of our personality. And then this is saying, for us to overcome it, it's like start playing more. Maybe hang out in meditation. There's a 5 there with the nothingness card as well. So maybe, you know, play more. Find, basically, it's like really find that inner wisdom, because there are possibilities here around you. Yeah, celebration. It's really about basically like having more fun. And then I believe that with the fun card, it's like you're gonna have a breakthrough in your consciousness, in your awareness around the truth of who you are. And then the Empress energy, as you begin to really tap that Empress energy, and plus this is moving us into this 2020 astrology, right, Pisces? So for a lot of you who it's resonating with, this isn't new stuff, you know? It's like you have this breakthrough, you've had multiple breakthroughs, just in a, you know, slowly does it. The Wheel of Fortune card feels like a slow moving energy with it being in the reverse, but it's here. And so the Wheel of Fortune is wanting to turn itself around in a favor. We want to have this breakthrough. The breakthrough ultimately comes with sustaining this playfulness energy from this greater wisdom, the greater wisdom that you've acquired over these last few cycles ultimately. And then the breaking through is ultimately also for this community, the paradigm shift community, conscious creatorship, light worker, if you use that expression. It's really time to release it now. It's time to ultimately have that breakthrough, trust in that breakthrough. For some of you, you might need to be slowing it down a little bit. And again, there's this sense of maturity, this sense of coming into the juicy ripeness of the energies here. The breakthrough is really coming out of you anchoring in your own power, your own ability to be the Empress. Be mindful of focusing too much on the victimhood state. There it is again. There's definitely some kind of defensive energy coming through around this matriarchal energy, around this false belief system of holding on to the burden, holding on. There's definitely kind of like a defensive energy. Basically, we're defending against because we're still identifying with this carrying the burden and this distorted belief system about how you're meant to show up. The reason the Queen of Swords there, I feel, is like you could trace it back to maybe things that your mother said, or things that, you know, the mother energy perhaps carries, right? And so it's like letting go of those defenses, play more, trust in your maturity and trust in your wisdom, basically, and also really have faith that things are turning around, especially if there's been these few cycles that you've been through. And with the Empress there on the Chariot, and again the breakthrough, the Wheel of Fortune, it feels like this has been a long time coming for you. And then there's this Judgment in the upright. So it's like once you start to play, once you really let go, find your inner strength, and then start to move. Chariot, Knight of Swords, start to move forward with these new structures, with these new belief systems, trusting, having faith, playing more, knowing your spiritual wisdom, knowing your spiritual truth, or just knowing your truth. You have the wisdom, you have the maturity. There's some advice here about celebrate and slow down. Celebrate and slow down and trust your power as the Empress, Pisces. You know, be aware of focusing too much on the lack. Focusing too much on the lack, or focusing too much on those negative beliefs, basically, that we inherited. Yeah, it's like let go. We don't need to focus on the falsehood anymore. We don't need to focus on a lack of power. Instead, basically focus on intuition. Yes, we're aware there can be energies that manipulate, there can be energies that abuse power. Yes, you're aware of all of that, but focusing on that isn't serving you. You have to drop the burden, start playing, trust in your spiritual awareness, your understanding, basically, that you've risen to. Trust that you're really ripe for the plucking in your intuition, and that's leading you to the breakthrough, and then finally really coming into your seat of power to move forward. And then there's this card. It's like then you can start moving forward and having this brand new beginning in an underlying belief system that essentially you've transformed via nothingness, via consciousness, and then rising yourself into this breakthrough energy. Because the High Priestess is here saying it's like you're fully in your power, but it's like there's two polarities, either focusing on the abuse of power, focusing on the shitty things out there, the shitty things that have happened to us repeatedly, and or really trusting in that nothingness and trusting in that ability to know your intuition fully. And then if it resonates, having and trusting and taking on the advice of playful, trust in that kind of innocence that you've risen to, and playful. That will really help you lead into this breakthrough energy for love and money. That's the energies ultimately of these past few years that all of us collectively have been deprogramming. And it's challenging for sure, because when the patterns resurface, it feels as bad as ever. It feels like it's like we're never going to get out of these cycles. And yet the breakthrough card is here with the Empress, and the Chariot wants to move you forward with this new beginning in perception. We know this once we change those underlying belief systems. But that belief system of carrying the burden, again, it could be a mother type of energy of like, oh, woe is me, I have so much to do, and I have this, that, and the other, and da 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 da, and I can't play, and I don't have time. Those are all just old thought constructs that have gone through your mind. And there is a subtlety here that perhaps there's an egoic attachment, that there's a fueled drama space around repeating that story. But again, with laying down more advice here, it's like, trust in your intuition. Know that you have the strength. Know that judgment wants to move in your favor. You have to trust your intuition more than the external circumstances of the abuse of power, basically. Which again could be cycles you've been through, and or just simply externalizing, focusing too much on the external, focusing on all the things going on outside of you, and believing that that's, the truth of your condition, rather than really getting into your strength, your intuition, and moving forward with the new ideas about who you are in this world. And this is going to really offer you that breakthrough, and for you to really embody the Empress energy. So Pisces, that's your reading. I hope that resonated for you and offered some clarity, guidance. And again, like anything we watch externally, if it doesn't resonate, just leave it behind. It's not meant for you. Otherwise, feel free to book a private reading, my lovers. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful month of December, Pisces. I'll speak to you real soon.